Hello, welcome back. This is the rest of lesson 1.5. I wanted to not make that first video too long. I realized I was talking a while. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Now I wanted to talk about how subtraction works. Let's just review. Here's how we said addition works. We said if the signs are the same, do what the operation says. So we add. If we have two positives, we get a positive. If we have two negatives, we get a negative. The signs are different, do the opposite operation, and we subtract. We realize that the one with the greater absolute value determines the sign of the answer. Okay? Now I wanted to remind you with addition, if you switch the order, it doesn't matter. Okay? See how, like with this problem, a negative plus a positive with a greater absolute value can become a positive plus a negative with but the absolute value is still on the positive one. The answer is still the same. With subtraction, you cannot change the order, though, and have it not affect the answer. If you change the order with a subtraction problem, the answer is going to be different. So here's the rules for subtraction. If I have a negative minus a negative of greater absolute value, the answer is positive. If I have a negative of greater absolute value minus a negative, then the answer is negative. If I have a positive minus a positive of greater absolute value, the answer is negative. And if I have a positive of greater absolute value minus a positive, then the answer is positive. Now, these four scenarios are when the signs are the same. See what I mean? Negative, 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 positive, 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 positive. Now, out of these problems, the only one that is sort of like that natural kind of preschool, fifth, not even fifth, probably like second grade type problem would be this one. I have a number with a greater absolute value minus another positive number with a lesser absolute value, and my answer is a positive answer. 5 minus 2 is 3. Now these other scenarios are a little bit more confusing. Let's take this one for example. So if I have positive 2 minus positive 5, my answer is negative 3. A positive minus a positive greater absolute value is negative. Okay? Now the idea here is that if I have a small number and I take away a much larger number, then my answer is going to be negative because I took away more than what's there. Okay? I started at 2 feet above the ground. Let's say you're standing on a rock or something like that. You fell down 5 feet, maybe you fell off of the rock and then into a hole, then you are now 3 feet below the ground. Okay? Now, I don't know that that's necessarily something that you do, but just for example. Now let's do an example for this one. I have a negative minus a negative of absolute value, greater absolute value equals a positive. So let's say negative 2 minus negative 5 is equal to positive 3. Okay? So the idea is I start owing $2. Someone subtracts or takes away the debt of $5. So I get to keep the $5 that I borrowed from someone else. I have that $5, so I take 2 of it and pay back the other person. I now have $3 left. When before I was very low, very much below negative, or below 0 rather. Now let's switch the order. Negative 5 minus negative 2 is equal to negative 3. Okay. Now with this one, since my signs are the same, I just do what the signs tell me to do, and that is to subtract. So since I'm subtracting, then I end up with a negative answer. Okay. Now I want to compare something. I'm sorry. this problem with this problem here, okay? Point being that this problem, 5 minus 2 equals 3, well, negative 5 minus negative 2 equals negative 3. Basically getting at if all the signs are the same, it just kind of makes sense. It's just sort of like a mirror image of this problem here, okay? Now let's go to if the signs are different. A negative minus a positive is always going to be negative. And a positive minus a negative is always going to be a positive. Okay? Well, what does that mean? So let's say I have negative 2 minus positive 5. Okay? Now, a number line would probably be good to tell this one. Okay? Now we're starting at negative 2, so I'll just go ahead and I'll say this point on the number line is 0. Here's negative 1, negative 2. So I'm taking away positive 5, so I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that would put me at negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. Okay? So in this case, since I have a negative and I'm taking away positives, which by definition makes it more negative, then my answer is more negative. Now going back again to the rule that we had said, if the signs are different, do the opposite operation. Well, let's look at what we did here. Okay. We said the signs are opposite. I have negative 2 minus 5, or minus positive 5. Okay. So in terms of operations, what do? Well, that is a negative, but it says to do the opposite, so I'm going to add. So I have 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay. Now, how did I figure that it's negative 7? Well, easy. If you're taking away or subtracting the positive, you're making it more negative. Now, positive 2 minus negative 5. I'm going to do one for this one. Positive minus negative. We said the answer is always positive. So positive 2 minus negative 5 is positive 7. And you might say, like, wait, I see a subtract sign, I see a negative sign, and we get a positive answer that's way bigger than anything else. You're like, this is confusing. Not so much if you think about what you're actually doing. The subtraction sign means that you're taking away something that's negative. When you take away something that's negative, it automatically becomes more positive. Okay? Now, using the analogy of debt, you could say I have $2. I owe someone $5. That someone says you don't have to pay me back the $5. I now have $7 because the debt, which is represented by the negative sign, was removed, represented by the subtraction sign. So therefore, the debt of $5 was removed. The $5 that I was going to pay them back, I can add to the $2 that I have, and I now have $7. I hope that one makes sense for you. Please review the video as needed, and thank you.